Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
So on this channel, most of the videos have been in Japanese. My contribution to the videos is very limited.
I see.
So I decided that it would be nicer if we make like a couple of videos in English. We've both had experiences attending international schools abroad. So if you could quickly introduce yourself and like your educational background.
Okay. My name is Lisa. I am part Japanese, part from the Solomon Islands, and I've grown up abroad most of my life. And as Koji said, I have gone to international schools, I've gone to local schools, and I've also gone to school in Japan and local Japanese schools as well.
She's actually lived in 10 countries. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I went to the British school in Tokyo until I was 9, and then I moved to Phuket, Thailand, where I attended British International School there. I went to university in the States for 2 years, but then came back, transferred to ICU. So we both went to ICU. And now I've transferred again, and now I'm going to be studying at Sophia University in April next year as a third-year transfer. But yeah, if we could talk, and today's topic is about the benefits that we've received from attending international schools abroad. So the first thing that comes to mind for me, the curriculum that they offer. Like you did the AP, I did the IB, International Baccalaureate, you did Advanced Placement AP. So these are curriculums that are recognized worldwide, and they're very useful for applying to universities in Japan, in America, or anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So which universities did you apply to? Just off the top of the head, I know it's like 5 years ago. But.
I've applied to a few of the University of California universities, and then some other American universities as well. I applied to the one in Japan at ICU as well.
So you only actually applied to one school in Japan?
Yeah, just one school.
So Lisa actually graduated high school in America, so I guess that's why your university options were like, I guess, focused or centered around America, and then like I remember you saying the ICU or the Japanese university was like a backup plan.
It was, yeah.
So why did you end up coming to Japan anyway?
There are a few reasons, but I think one of the main reasons was that, you know, I've been living abroad my entire life. Yeah, my dad's from Japan, so like I just thought it would be a great opportunity to come back and kind of embrace my own culture for once, and kind of learn about, you know, Japan itself, as well as the culture, and obviously the language.
So I think a lot of high school students struggle with the juken period, the examination period.
Yeah.
They have to study for exams for like multiple schools, and I think the juken, like the exam itself, is different from each university.
Right.
So if you want to apply to multiple schools, you have to go through a lot of juken.
Different jukens, yeah.
So I think the one thing that stands out to me is, yes, with the IB or with the AP or like an international school diploma, like you have a lot of options and choices as to which universities you want to apply to, which schools you want to apply to, and on top of that, you don't even have to like do exams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you might just need to do one, like the SAT or the ACT,
like a standardized test. But
you have a lot of options, which are kind of already given to you while you're in high school. You don't have to do an extra juken for a specific school.
Like even like Kokusei Kiristokyō Daigaku ICU, there's multiple like admissions criteria.
Yeah.
And so us being like we applied through the English-based admissions, so our Japanese level was not tested or anything like that. We applied purely with our high school grades and like a 500-word essay. And so like it's really nice, you know, when you're walking around Japan and you go, oh, I go to ICU, and they're like, oh, you're really smart. It's like, no, not really. We didn't really have to do the juken like all the other Japanese kids did. And so
It's weird to say, but
yeah,
our
yeah.
admission was definitely the easiest, and I think people who go to international schools definitely have an advantage, especially if they want to go to school in Japan.
So obviously a lot of schools in Japan don't have like English language based admissions, and so I feel like a lot of Japanese parents do get worried about that. Like, oh, my kids aren't going to be able to go, their options are going to be super limited. But your options are limited to like Waseda, Keio, ICU Sophia, and like Tokyo International University or Temple. So like your options are good.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's something you have to worry about.
Yeah, it's definitely doable.
Yeah. Your options are limited, but they're limited to good schools. So I don't think that should be viewed as a con. Another thing that comes to mind for me is I went through 18 years of English speaking education. In international schools, you usually learn a second language as well. So I did Spanish for 9 years. And so I think, like, at one point in my life, my Spanish was better than my Japanese, very easily.
Wow.
And I really, really feel that, like, language acquisition is so much easier when you're younger. Because for the first time in my life, now that I'm 21 years old, I've started to learn Japanese. Like, I'm Japanese, and I lived here until I was 9. My mother speaks to me in Japanese. I watch like Japanese programs, anime, whatever. I love Japanese baseball. So I have been around the language, but it's still such a hard language to learn. Now that I'm 21 years old, I've been studying it for like 7 months, and yeah, like my progress is good, but I still struggle with it a lot. Now, if I told a 21-year-old Japanese person to go learn English now, like, that's going to be so difficult. And so I think the benefit of like going to an international school, especially abroad, when you're younger, is you're kind of immersed in an English-speaking environment. You have no choice but to learn English, and it just comes naturally to you. Do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, in my case, like, I've been living in countries that speak like Spanish, for example, as their kind of national language. So like, on top of having to learn English at school, I also had the opportunity to kind of be forced, it's kind of weird to say, but like to learn Spanish, or like when I was in Brazil, I was kind of forced to learn Portuguese, and like that's definitely a merit, especially when you're a bit older and you want to start getting jobs and you want to stand out among other people. Having like 2 or 3 different languages under your belt would be really beneficial.
Because like, we're Japanese, like, especially when we have Japanese parents, like, if you want to pick up the language again, I don't think it's that much of a hassle. So if a parent is scared of putting their kids in a foreign international schools because they're scared that they're gonna lose their Japanese, like, I think that's something you have to be prepared for if you want your kid to be a native English speaker. And so obviously it's a bit scary, like, oh, my son's not gonna be able to speak Japanese, like, they're gonna lose their identity or whatever. Like, nah, if you're Japanese, you'll always be able to reintegrate into the culture. So like, especially for you, I lived in Japan until I was 9, but you were rarely in Japan until you were 18 years old. Like, I've seen videos of you speaking Japanese when you were 18 in high school, and it was horrendous. But like, after 4 years of university, like, you're working full-time in Japan, like, you passed the N1, which is like the Japanese language proficiency test, no problem. Like, you made plenty of Japanese friends. Most of your friends at ICU are Japanese. And so like, I really, really do think that the opportunity to study in a foreign international school is like such a great option for Japanese families. And yeah, I've said this time and time again, but picking up the language, coming back to Japan is no problem. And I do, like, even coming back to Japan for university is, I think, a great option, and something that both of us actually did. So that's the end of today's video. I think in the next video, I want to talk about, like, we're both Kikokushijo returnees, but something that we wish we did while we were abroad. And so I think that parents who have kids in international schools can watch this next video and think like what we can do for our kids so that they have nothing to regret in the future. So please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.